Hello everyone and welcome to today. I'm actually here today. Wait, let me see. Yes, I am streaming. Last Monday when I had the stream, I was sitting here and I could see people joining, but everyone just left right away as they joined, and I was like, well, I guess that's what happens. And I never trust the numbers on the YouTube display anyway, because it will sometimes show that people are not here, and then there's lots of people here, so I never quite know. But it looked like people joining and leaving, and I was like, oh, that's strange. And then I held the whole stream. Not a single person said anything. And I was like, oh, that's really bizarre. And then I went in, and the day after I was looking at the transcript because I was going to see what I said. I sometimes do that and I put the evening meditation into something called Notebook LM, which is like a way of converting a stream like this, or a podcast, or you can do a book, you can do whatever. You can convert it into another podcast that discusses the thing that was being discussed, which is really fun. So I actually listen to these videos sometimes to hear what I say, and because I find it interesting as well. And it wasn't there. I couldn't find it, and then I realized, oh man, I actually never went online. I just sat here and talked to myself, and it was a pretty long stream because it was a really good talk, and I enjoyed the topic. I think I talked about what was the topic that I was going to do? It was it was just a nightmare. So I had a long talk about this topic because it was like a topic that I found really interesting, and I had this really nice discussion, and then I was like, yeah, well, if someone listens to it, I know that there's quite a few people who listen afterwards, even because they can't join at this particular time. So I thought I'll just have the chat, and then someone else would listen to it later. And then it turns out I was never online anyway, so no one could listen, which was a bit ironic, but I guess that happens sometimes, and it's the kind of thing that I would do a lot when I not that particular thing, but when I started streaming. I quite often, whenever I was going to start the stream, I had to come here, and it would take an hour, it felt to set everything up and do the now I have a studio set up, and I have the lights and microphone, and I have a camera, so I don't have to do that every time. Instead, I can just go okay, I want to stream, and then I can get it started in 5 minutes. If I start live streaming. If I don't live stream, then it doesn't really matter that I have everything set up. So for those of you who joined last Monday and was wondering why I never joined, that's why, and I apologize. I will try to not make that again. I'd also like to say that this is, let's see, what day is it today? End of July, I think. Yeah, so we're having I'm actually getting married in 2 weeks' time. So that's pretty soon, and there's a lot of preparations for that. So I don't know exactly how it's going to be the next 2 weeks. I'm hoping that I'll be able to do streams most of the time. But I can tell you that the Thursday before and the week after, there's not going to be, because we're going on a very short honeymoon. But we'll go away for that as well. So just so you know that there will be a period of time when there simply won't be any streams, because I'm on my honeymoon, and because of the preparations for the wedding, which is, there's a lot of preparations when you prepare for a wedding. I just never expected it to be this much, I guess, but it's going to be a lot of fun, so I'm looking forward to that. If anyone has any topics they'd like to bring up, and then feel free to do so. Otherwise, I have a few things on my mind, but I'm always happy to hear if someone has something that's been coming up for you, or sometimes people actually send me messages on Discord channel, and you're always welcome to do that as well. If there's something that you're like, oh yeah, I have issues with this, or this is something I'm struggling with, I always wondered about this, whatever that may be, and then I try to bring that up, because it's fun to have topics that's related to, hey Stephen, thank you. Yes, it's getting close, and yes, it feels like we actually had a meeting today with our the best man and best, what do you say, best woman, best, what's the word, maid of honor, is that it? Anyway, we met them today with their kids, And so we had some talks about like how everything's gonna happen and plans that need to happen, and it's it's progressing forward. I can say that I've been so bad with the pills and everything, and with my neck pain, so I have to give most of the credit to my fiance, who is incredible at planning. I suck at planning, which you can tell because I didn't even put the stream on last Monday, so it happens. Stephen, since you're here, do you have anything on your mind that you'd like me to discuss, or anything that you've been thinking about? We spoke not long ago, but maybe there's something that's been coming up, or something that you've been running into. You always have good questions, so I'm happy to talk about it if you have something that you've been thinking about. Or if someone else has it, that's fine as well, of course. And if you don't have anything, Stephen, that's fine as well. You don't feel like you need to. Not sure. Well, we could look at not being sure, not feeling sure. It's something that a lot of people struggle with a lot, that they don't feel like they know what they're going to do. So like I need to make something happen, and I'm unsure. I feel insecure could also be something that comes from being unsure, because we don't really know what choices to make in a situation, or what direction to take our lives, or take whatever it may be. I mean, choices are one of those things that can be very difficult, because you're at a crossroad, and if it's a big choice, you know that if I take this choice and go there, it could lead to this. If I do it and take it and go that way, it could lead somewhere completely different, and we're not quite sure which way is going to lead to what. And that can create a lot of distortion inside of us, a lot of uncertainty, because we want to, and I think this is important to know, that when people think at least, they say that, well, I don't know what to do, so they think if I could just know what to do, and I would have this thought in my head of what I'm supposed to do. And they believe if I knew that, then I would feel okay, because then I would obviously know the solution. This is not quite true. What you're looking for is not the solution or the thought. What you're really looking for is the feeling of knowing what to do, the feeling of knowing what path to take. And I'll explain why. Because if it was, hey JVB, yeah, I'm not only talking to myself this time. By the way, post if you have a question. I'm going to go with the one I improvised from Stevens. So I lost my train of thought here. We're not really looking for the solution to the thing. What we're looking for is to feel like we know what we do, what we're supposed to do, that we feel secure. So it's not really that we need to intellectually understand the answer. What we really want is we want to feel secure. And I'll give you an example. If someone says, I have issues with meeting people, I meet partners who just mistreat me, and they're always doing this or that. Like I always fall for the wrong girl or the wrong guy. Like I always do this stuff. Or no, even better, like that's too diffuse. I never have any money left at the end of the month. And okay, like that's fine. Like, and we can sit down. You can sit down with someone who's an economical planner, and they say, you save X amount of % of your salary, you do this and you do that, and then you don't spend. Like that's all you need to do. And you go like, yeah, but I'm not sure if that's the right thing, because I wanna do this, I wanna do that. And we don't feel like, okay, yeah, this is what I'm supposed to do, and it's very easy. That's why you can have the best plan and the best solution to your situation, but you're not feeling it. You're not feeling like, I can't do that because I know that I'm bad with money. I know that I waste money on things that I don't need to have. I go buy things just because I like the feeling of buying. So you're not looking for the solution. What you're looking for is a feeling. And the feeling that you're looking for is to feel secure in knowing what you're supposed to do. So it's so confusing for people, because we're looking for answers in the wrong place. We think that we're looking for an idea or a solution, but most people are not looking for ideas or solutions. They're looking for a different feeling. And I find this so much when I talk to people and they come with, especially like I've changed how I do coaching quite a lot, like this last year when I really started like being much harder on my student and on my coaching clients than I was before. Before we'd have philosophical discussions and we'd talk about things and they'd come with problems and we'd discuss it. And what I realize is that a lot of people, they don't want to actually solve their problems. They just want to feel different about their problems because they know what to do. They're perfectly aware of how to solve their situations or their problems, but they don't really wanna. They want to feel something else. So when you start seeing this, that what you're actually after is not the thing you think you're after. You're always after a feeling. And what we're talking about here is understanding that that is complete and not utter like BS. Like it's not actually a factual thing. How you feel towards something constantly changes. And we think that if I get that thing, I will get this feeling. And then people who become spiritual, they say, well, you can just cultivate that feeling. So you feel the feeling of fulfillment all the time, like you're getting stuff, you feel abundance, you feel like you're rich, and if you feel like you have $1 million and you feel, then you'll get the $1 million. So it's still the idea that we want to get stuff. And the thought that you could just feel good, just enjoy being alive, is really bizarre, because obviously you can't. You need to have something change so that you can feel good. So yeah, not feeling sure, what people like, not being sure, when people say that, what they're actually saying is not that they don't know what to do, because many times they know exactly what to do. What they're saying is that they don't feel like they know what to do. Even if they know exactly what to do, they don't feel like it. And then it doesn't matter. So yeah, GVB, I was thinking if you have anything you wanted to bring up, then I have a hard time keeping talking without like being distracted if someone writes. So I wanted to ask you again, if you have something that you have on your mind that you'd like to bring up, then please do. I think you were talking about your neighbors a few times ago, I remember. Maybe you have something else. Or how has that been going for you? Neighbors is also one of those things that I was talking to another friend about this who had this idea that, yeah, if your neighbors play loud music, I just like, as long as it's like in the middle of the night, I don't mind. Like, I'll just like be happy and dance with them. And that was his feeling of what a good neighbor is. For me, it's a very different thing. Like, since I enjoy quietness, I enjoy calmness, feeling good wherever you are. Yeah, exactly. In not just wherever you are, but whatever you're doing. Because it's not just about where we are, it's what we're doing and how we're feeling about what we're doing. And it's not even feeling it, it's more like being at ease with where we are. Like there's this, it goes into how people do meditation, and this is something I've looked at a lot, and it was something that became very clear to me when I was meditating so much. It's that we look at sensations, and I talk a lot about being aware of your senses. So we look at our sensations, but we don't know how to look at our sensations. So we feel like I am here, and now I'm observing this feeling in my arm. And then there's a really strong pain in my knee, and I would sit for hours watching pain, like a pain, ow, ow. I'd just feel the pain. And I'd be here and I'd feel the pain. I'd go like this and I'd try to not resist it. So there was no like, oh yeah, it's going away. Like I'm observing, and I thought like I'd overcome something. All I'd done was that I'd been focusing on this pain, and I'd been able to kind of in between notice that there's a distortion there. And by just focusing so much of it, I was basically concentrating on that sensation, and that made me calm. But I wasn't really allowing that pain to come. When you really allow pain to come, there's this feeling of pain, like, oh, I don't want to feel it, but just being open and almost merging with it. Like there's no distance between you and the pain. We're not resisting it. We're not pushing it away. Then it just goes away. Well, the physical pain is still there, but the aversion to the pain goes away. So when we say feel good, it's important to understand that it's not just sitting here and being neutral and having nice sensations or whatever. It's actually a sense of stillness. The way you know what I'm talking about is when you're sitting and you don't feel like you need to move. But you can move, and you will move, but you don't feel like you need to. There is not this idea that if I move over there, then life will be much better than over here. If I could just get that thing over there on the table, then I would feel different than I feel now, because that's what that action holds. That's why we take action, because the action contains a promise that you will feel different if you take that action. You believe if you would just do this thing, if you would just be somewhere else, like feeling good wherever you are, then I would feel something else. And that's what we're really after. We're not after the things we think we're after a feeling. Unfortunately, the feeling we're after, the feeling of fulfillment, of actually being here and like having arrived. I'm here, I don't need to do anything, it's okay. That feeling is very illusory, because it keeps moving. As soon as you get something, it moves to somewhere else. And you do something, and then it moves to somewhere else. And you keep moving the goalpost, and you never get to actually feel the joy of like, yes, I made it, now I'm done. And we just take this as how life is supposed to be. Because if you feel content, then you wouldn't get more stuff. And the purpose of life is to get more stuff, right? That's what people believe. This is why you can... I think when people move out into the forest to go homesteading, it's much easier when you're in nature to just feel that peace and ease, because there's not so much around you. You're just there. You're just in a house, hopefully, or in a tent or kuti, whatever, and you're living there. You're making sure you have food, making sure you're safe, you're warm, taking care of things, and just washing your clothes, building a little bit, and just being. And it's a very nice way of living that people today don't know how to experience, because we're so used to being bombarded, like, have to do this, need to do that, need to go over here, need to do this. And when you think about how society is built, it's actually quite crazy that there is so much resources on the planet. There's so much abundance of so many things. But for some reason, we just have a hard time sharing that. And I don't mean like, oh, you can't be rich, like really rich even. But it's not enough for people. Like they're looking for a feeling, and they don't get that. So then we just keep on getting more. And some people just get really good at getting financial stuff, whereas there's a lot of people who would just be able to, just would need to have enough money to survive, and they'd be happy. Like they don't need to have a lot, but they just need to survive. And for most people, that's what life is like. Most people just struggle to make sure that they have enough to pay the rent, to make sure that they have enough for food, to have a car, and to do the things they need to do, buy clothes for their kids, and just live a normal life. Most people aren't looking for millions or becoming really rich or something. They just want to enjoy life. And the funny thing is that when they then all of a sudden do get money, that tends to change that, because then, well, actually, you know what, I think I need more money. I need to have more stuff. Not enough with one car. I need 2 cars and a boat. And then after a while, I think I need a plane. Yeah, because I should have a plane. Maybe a private jet. I mean, a private jet would be really good. Then I could travel. I wouldn't have to stand in queue. Yep, I need to earn enough money to have a private jet. And then a yacht with a landing strip. Actually, I'm not sure if there are yachts with landing strips, but you get my point. People have a hard time just enjoying being here. They keep wanting to get somewhere else. I remember when okay, Stephen, let's see. I don't like these streamers. Seems like all these kids and young adults nowadays watch streamers all day. It's just distortions, influencing. Yeah, and I get that, but it's also, it's important to know, Stephen, that I agree with you. I'm not saying against you at all. But they don't realize it's all business, and not everyone can live like that. Yeah. people tend to find, if you think about it like this, the problem that we all have is that we have something we call an identity that we need to protect. Like, this is me, this is my identity. So this identity has this feeling that it needs to be special. It needs to protect its views and opinions. It needs to stand up for what it believes in. And when someone says something that's different, they need to push against that. When someone says something they like, we pull towards that. And I'm not saying there are better and less good ways of living in society for everyone to be happy. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm saying what the self requires to live. So when most people start out, like they go and then they get born and they go through society, then they believe like, well, they don't like people who have certain political opinions, and then they don't like people who or they don't like being poor, so then they make money so that they can feel good, and then I don't like my phone, so I need to have this thing different here, and they have all these beliefs that if it could just be different, then I'd be happy, but I don't have these things, so if I could get them, then I'd be happy. What you say about the streamers and that you dislike how they are and the opinions that they spread, I agree. I think that this is something that's terrible for kids, and I can just see what it does to my kids. My daughter is 7, and she's already influenced by things that I just never had to deal with at her age, and she doesn't have her own phone or computer like that, but she's still, through friends who has older brothers or sisters, siblings, and who are influenced by this, or she sees something and then she's influenced by this and has all these ideas. So I think it's really bad. But if I then go around and say, you know what? If they would just stop those damn streamers, if they would just stop spreading this misinformation, if they would just stop doing all these things showing unrealistic expectations of what life's like. And you see, like, a streamer actually looked this morning. I was looking at YouTubers who do living in a van life, and it seemed like every single one of them who lives in a van is like a gorgeous woman who is like scantily clad with barely any clothes, who's just lying there doing like this and just talking about how lonesome she is, or it's a couple with like a good-looking man and a girl or a woman who then kind of share their stories, and it's just the same stuff. And we believe that, well, if I can just remove those things, why can't there be like just a normal like Fred down the road who just lives in his van and just drinks coffee and eats bagels and he's just like a normal person? No, it has to be this unrealistic ideal of what life is like. But if I then believe they need to change, if they would just stop doing all this stuff, if they would only share what life really looks like behind the scenes, if you would just be showing the people who watch their streams what they're actually like, what life is like for them for real, not what they're showing, but what's happening behind the scenes, then I would be happy. Then I could enjoy my life, and then I wouldn't have these distortions, because then they'd be different, and then I could really enjoy being here. It's the same thing. It doesn't really matter. And it doesn't even matter if you're right or wrong. That's besides the point. What we're looking at is how the sense of separation, the sense of identity, comes from a part of us that we're defending with opinions, with beliefs, with ideals and beliefs about how things should or shouldn't be. Again, I'm not saying there aren't better or worse ways to do things. I'm not saying you shouldn't even have preferences towards what to do and not to do. What I'm saying is that while you do that, look at how you're reacting. Are you withholding your happiness or your enjoyment of being here because those people are doing that? Are you withholding your presence of being right now, experiencing what life is like right here, because that person earlier today said something to you that was discriminating, that was not fair, that was not nice, or maybe it was nice and now you want to hear more about it, and because of that you're now avoiding to be here? Then why? Why is it that you need to keep doing this, to keep pushing against the world and saying that if it's kind of like bribing, or not bribing, negotiating with the universe and reality, and saying like, if everyone just changes and I get what I want, then I'll be happy. Then I'll reward the universe with me being happy. Or the classical thing where it's like, well, if I just get this God, then I'll go to church every Sunday. I promise. I'll just save this person. I'll go to church for the rest of my life. Yeah. It's like this negotiation with a higher power. Like we believe that it needs to change for us to be happy. Our happiness is conditional. It's not that it's actually nice to be here, because something needs to happen to our story for us to enjoy being here. And just actually sitting here, people just don't really understand what it's like to just sit and experience life. We're not experiencing life. We're experiencing our experience of life through the filter of our emotions that always comes in between everything. Just like you're saying, Stephen, we have an opinion about them, and then which is not the problem. The problem is that you have an emotional judgment about what they're doing. That is the issue. Whether you're right or wrong doesn't matter. But you're making yourself hurt. You're withholding your happiness because of what some idiot online does. Why? It's the same as the people who follow that person, and while they're following them, they feel like, oh, I wish I was like them, and they feel so unhappy because they don't have the life that their favorite streamer has. You're basically doing the same thing when you're saying what you're saying. Even though I agree with you, it doesn't matter. You're still doing the same thing that the people who believe they should be like them are doing. It's the same issue. The self is very tricky. It's very clever at finding ways of inserting itself into your story so that it doesn't feel like it's doing it. So it feels like, well, I'm in a noble cause now, so I am completely without self because I'm doing things for others, when there could be a huge sense of identity, a huge sense of self, while you're giving everything away because you're identifying with that. You identify with someone who does this, or when you identify with being the universe. Same thing. It's really just a matter of over and over and over again going in and looking at this and being completely honest with yourself and telling yourself, like, okay, right now I'm doing this. And also not feeling bad about that, going like, oh man, I'm doing it again. I knew I shouldn't do this. Why am I doing it again? Instead of doing that, just experiencing what's happening now and saying like, okay, yeah, I can see that I'm actually feeling bad now because I believe reality should be different. What does that feel like? What does it feel like to go around and be in a bad mood? To be not content, to want reality to change? Is that a nice way to experience life? Is it a not so nice way to experience life? Is it something you want more of, or something you want less of? What does it actually feel like? Just be really vigilant. Vigilant is the wrong word. Really attentive to what's going on inside of you, emotionally, not intellectually, not what your story is telling you, not what's happening around you, but be aware of how you're emotionally judging and reacting to the world around you. And don't try to not react emotionally. In other words, we're not trying to suppress the emotions we have. That just leads to what would you call it? You call it disassociation, or just like weird stuff happening in the mind where you're feeling something like, no, I'm not supposed to feel that, because we're not supposed to feel any kind of aversion or craving for things. Then you're not actually feeling the feeling. You need to feel the feeling and see that there's nothing there. You need to experience life to be able to overcome the idea that life needs to act in a certain way for you to enjoy it. And there will be moments and glimpses where you can see this and you can say like, oh, you know what? I could actually just feel happy now without anything happening. Why am I not doing that? Yeah, because earlier today something happened. Or, you know what, Martin, my life is really tough. I have a hard financial situation. I have physical pain. I don't have a partner. I have a partner. Or I don't have kids. Or maybe I do have kids. Like, whatever it is, there's always a story that says, you're not allowed to feel good now because X, Y, Z times 100. And there's always more. there's always something that will keep you just at the edge of enjoying being here, but not quite, because reality should be a little bit different. Okay. Today is Friday, so we don't have a guided meditation. That was Monday when I was here. Maybe you were also, but unfortunately I wasn't streaming, so no one could see what I was doing. Today we'll just do actually we can do the Kapalabhati, the one where we put our hand on our stomach and we do quick out breath. We do and we do that to get the energy moving inside of us, because when you do that before you sit, it tends to make us really present and aware right now, because it brings a lot of, I don't want to say energy, but let's say energy. It brings a lot of energy to your sitting, and many times it makes it much easier when you actually sit after that. And you can do as many as you like, but always make sure that you feel comfortable and don't feel dizzy. I'm going to do 39, like the amount of lashes they gave Jesus, 39. I played Jesus in Jesus Christ Superstar a long time ago. You can do 1, 10, 20, 30, 40, however many you feel comfortable doing. And then after that, we'll sit for 20 minutes, and I will see you on the other side. So just put your hand on your stomach, and then in your own time and your own tempo, just start breathing. thank you for today, and I'm happy that I was able to start the stream today, so it wasn't like last time. I hope that you've had a good week so far, and then I hope that you'll have a good weekend, and I will see you all back on Monday again. Thank you very much, and see you then.